It's too structured. It's
Yeah.
driving me insane. My God.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Comfort, the social anxiety podcast. We're your hosts, Michelle
And Elle.
As you know, Beyond Comfort is all about testing the bounds of your social anxiety and looking inward to figure out the best way forward.
Today, we're going to be focusing on the looking inward part of that.
As some of you know, Elle and I are about a year out of undergrad, so a lot has changed for us over the past several months.
We're working, living alone, balancing school and social lives. Really, everything has changed, and we're at that stage where all you want to do is figure out who you are and what the hell you're doing with your life.
And I think because of that, everything is so different from what we've been used to for the past 4 years. And so I found myself, especially at the beginning of this school year in my master's, sitting alone in my apartment, constantly analyzing images of myself.
Yeah, I did that too. I'm always looking at my Instagram profile, mindlessly scrolling.
Yeah, and I don't know what it was, but I found myself completely disconnecting from the images on my profile. I think I've always been kind of disconnected from my social media profiles because even though it's me, it's the polished version of myself. And I think that because of that, I really started to think about my relationship with my social media identity.
Yeah, I completely get that.
And I think it really hit me when one of my best friends and roommates from undergrad posted this killer recap video of the past 4 years. And I was sitting there alone in my apartment in an entirely different stage of life, looking at the clips of me in this video. And I just felt completely removed from the person I was looking at. It was almost as if I wasn't able to register that the person I was looking at was me or that I experienced those moments.
And so because of that, we wanted to take some time to really examine this phenomenon because I know we aren't the only two who have ever experienced this.
It really felt that way for a few months there, though. It felt like I was the only one who's experiencing this, and I was keeping it to myself because I thought it was so odd that I was looking at pictures of me and not understanding that it was me. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna expose myself because people are gonna think I'm a weirdo.
No, I totally get that because even too, when I was editing my so-called vlogs for my last year of university, every time I would look at myself or be like, I don't want to enter that in, or even my voice in certain things, I'm like, I'm being so self-centered right now. I don't even want to bring this, like, it feels like I'm only thinking about myself, but it's just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so many other people experience it.
Yeah, 100%. And so I became so fixated on it and I was so worried that I was the only one. But then I did some digging and I asked around. I asked you, I asked like our friends, people I was in class with. And it really surprised me because they felt very similarly. It was just that they couldn't describe it. And even I couldn't describe it at first. It was just like, I'm looking at these pictures and I don't feel connected.
What's weird now that I'm thinking about it is that when I'm scrolling through my camera roll, I feel more connected. But then I go to my Instagram and I'm like, I don't feel connected because it's so curated. Like it's so for somebody else to look at and it's not for me, it feels like anymore.
Which is weird because we're the ones who look at our own profile the most.
Yeah. So because of all that, we want to break down the idea of like disconnecting from your social media identity and looking how analyzing the self, posting an ideal version of yourself, anxiety, control, affirmation, public perception, and mood are all the driving factors for disconnection.
So, Elle, let me ask you a question.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Have you ever stopped and thought about how many times you look at your profile, even if it's just in one day?
No, but now that you're making me think about it, it's making me scared. I don't like that.
How many do you think, honestly?
Going on Instagram and then the first page is my profile, or like actually scrolling through? Because I feel like just seeing your profile in the flesh, like even if it's for like a glimpse.
I think it also counts because how often is it really just a glimpse, like a 1 second look?
It's never. I want to say between 5 and 10. Is that crazy?
I don't think it's that crazy, especially on like a super boring day.
Yeah.
Or if you're just like mundanely watching TV, I'm on there scrolling mindlessly. It's like,
yeah,
I'm not necessarily being like, oh my gosh, I want to go look at my Instagram. It's a habit almost.
Mm-hmm. When I was in my TikTok era, I would rewatch that. Like I was watching my own For You page. Like I was giving myself views at that point. Like there's no other explanation.
And I know that we're not the only ones. So I wanted to go ahead and remove all of the doubt. So we went ahead and interviewed 5 female identifying individuals between the ages of 18 and 35 and asked them, about their relationship with their social media identity.
You're not just checking your profile, you're checking your follower count. Then you're checking how does everything look when it goes together? How do all the photos look? I would find myself doing it, I think, once a day, maybe twice a day.
For me, I constantly look at my own profile on social media, and it's just like instinct. Like maybe I'll open the app and initially I'll look through whatever's there on the timeline, whatever comes up. And then without even thinking about it, I just like open my profile. Sometimes I watch my highlights and I'm not even really like thinking about what I'm doing or why I'm looking at it. I just like feel this like urge, instinct, desire to just like look at myself, I guess.
I don't know if this is a weird thing to do, but I feel like every time I meet someone new and they follow me or something like that, I go back and look at my profile and like sort of imagine it from their perspective.
Whether I'm laying in bed, laying on the couch, I'm bored. Sometimes too, like say I'm interested in a guy, I almost like look at my Instagram profile from their perspective. Like, what would they think about this post? What would they think about this? My story highlights, etc. And then in other ways, I'm also just thinking about it from just like how I present myself.
And I think it's important before we get any further into this that we define the different types of the self.
Right. Okay. So there are two types of self that we'll touch on, defined in an article by Yujong Kim. The first is the actual self, which is how an individual perceives themselves in a present moment. And then there is the ideal self, which is the individual you aspire to be, which is the version we mainly highlight on our social media pages.
I feel like I try and incorporate the two on my social media pages, but it turns more into the ideal self.
Yeah. So then it's kind of a balance between your authentic self, your actual self, and curation, which then encompasses your social media identity.
And social media identity, for anyone who doesn't know, is best described by Marwick and Bond as the way users construct and present their personas online. Okay, so then we really don't show our actual selves on Instagram if you think about it.
No, we really don't. I feel like we only show the best versions of ourselves, the best moments, whether that be vacation, graduation, birthdays. It's all the highlights of life.
I'm curating the vibe of like how I look in photos of me and a mix of photos of like the landscape, dinner, etc. I'm going to take as many photos as I can to do like an Instagram dump of these photos, just trying to showcase like a cool side of me, which I hope is genuinely cool, but I don't know if it's just like a fake image.
I feel like a lot of what I post, especially on my main account, is like accomplishments. I posted my grad photo. Like I posted from a trip that I went on with my friend. I posted for my cousin's wedding, but that was more because everyone just looked so cute.
I think vacation photos are the most exciting because they really capture that enhanced version of your life. Because I obviously don't travel all the time, but those are the ones with the most pressure, especially like if it's showing body.
I actually remember in particular, I went on a trip with my ex-boyfriend and I was posting lots about that. We were together at the time of the trip and I was posting lots about us being on our trip and we were so in love on our trip. But the reality was that like we were so unhappy with each other. We were like a month or two away from a breakup. I still have like a couple photos up on my profile from that trip even. And I look back at those and I'm like, ugh, that's not a real image of what that trip was at all.
But I wonder like why that is though. Like what started that? What made that a thing?
I mean, if we go backwards to when we were in high school and even middle school, everything in terms of social media was so new and we were so young that we didn't really care about the way that we presented ourselves. Like those anxieties hadn't come about yet. And so I feel like it started off with actual self. It was make Instagram casual again a few years ago because Instagram used to be so casual. But now we're so used to seeing all of these Instagram models or there's ads now on Instagram. And I feel like it just causes us to want to curate to kind of live up to what else is on there. And then everybody just does it. And then it becomes this huge thing where all we do is curate.
No, I agree. And if we even want to bring it even further back to when, like, let's say the millennials were growing up, they had Facebook pictures and they still have those. And you would just post whatever the hell you wanted as if digital footprint was just not a thing.
Yeah.
I think that also brings up a bunch of anxiety too, because we've seen so many people get in trouble with digital footprint.
Yeah.
and get screwed over. And there was a big thing in high school about how we're perceived online with jobs and how they'll be able to find you on anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. It all comes down to how we want to be perceived and the worry about how we're being perceived.
I think it's nice to step back for a second and get a window into how you might be perceived by other people, if that makes sense. I can look in the mirror and I know what I look like or what I think I look like, but how am I coming across to other people? That might be different.
I think a lot of the time, like with my anxiety, I really overthink my identity. I often feel like everything is related to my identity. Like one little thing will go wrong and I'll be like, what does that make me? Who am I? You know, what does that say about who I'm going to become in the future? I have a lot of anxiety around being judged. I'm always thinking about what I think other people will think of me. Everything that I post or just decide to like share to the world in general, it's this fear of how other people will look at me. And that like every little action of mine makes this huge difference when I know that it doesn't, but like there's just something in me that tells me that it does.
When someone tags you in a post, you know that their audience is now perceiving you, and that goes beyond the audience you have and like have some control over. But like, for example, my friends who are still friends with my ex, when they post about me, I know he's seeing that, and that's a thought that's for sure in my head, right?
It sounds so superficial, but it's just the truth. Like, I also am like, I curated or tried to curate this vibe of like, I care, but I don't care.
That overthinking aspect, like considering how other people are going to think of me after taking like a photo. That's the real reason why I analyze. I don't analyze it for like myself.
I don't think we necessarily realize it, but whether you have social anxiety like us or not, there's a lot of anxiety in general around posting.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much thought around what goes into a post. And with anxiety in general, it aims to create fear and worry, even when there's no reason for it. And it focuses a lot of that worrying on what other people think of you and how they're perceiving you. So it would make sense, especially for women, that we get anxious about posting because we overanalyze and scrutinize every single detail about ourselves.
I would say it's a mix of anxiety and just like insecurity, honestly. You know, we always want to like look our best in real life and on Instagram. So wanting to be perceived a certain way definitely plays into anxiety. I think in middle school, no guy was ever like interested in me at all, at all, at all. So when finally I hit high school, went through a bit of puberty, gained some confidence, guys started to be interested in me. And I kind of took that and ran with it for a little while. And I was like, this is just like the movies. And so I think for a while, my even just like makeup and everything was like geared towards like the male gaze or just like wanting to look good so that guys would compliment me, which once again sounds so fucked up, but that's just the honest truth.
We are our biggest critics, and when mental health comes into play, it makes things even more challenging because you're really fighting with your thoughts. I could be super put together and like looking my best, but in my head, if like I don't feel my best because of what I'm thinking about or because I'm like just really hard on myself, it kind of affects everything.
I grew up dealing with anxiety and depression like from the age of 9. I would say that social media, Instagram in particular, definitely plays into the anxious and depressive thoughts and patterns that I get into. And whether that's something that I've posted or I'm seeing other people post and comparing my life and my situation to theirs, it definitely plays a role.
100%. And we're our biggest critics. And I think it's really hard to get out of that mindset. But I mean, like looking at your photos isn't always bad, especially when they're your best moments.
It's a rose-colored glasses situation. Like, I don't necessarily know if I was the happiest I've ever been in the photos, but I look happy in them, and time and that distance make me reflect on them differently. For me, it's nice to be able to go and see instances where I was really happy or where I felt in that moment that I looked good enough to post to remind myself that I can look like that, or maybe I do look like that already, but at least the possibility of me looking and feeling beautiful is there.
That's a good way to look at it. I think sometimes our best moments can show us how life can be. But on the other hand, it opens the door for a lot of comparison and not just comparing ourselves to other people. Because I think by now we all know that comparing ourselves to others on social media is inevitable. Like it's actually impossible to get around, to avoid. But what about comparing yourself to yourself?
Comparison is the thief of joy. And I could be thriving right now, but then let's say I was thriving even more last year. And then immediately it's like I think about how I looked last year, what I posted last year. And it's like I could be doing a lot better now, or could be doing a lot more now because of where I was a year ago. When like those are two different situations. Like life was completely different a year ago, and I need to remember that.
Actually, I like just so recently deleted a bikini photo I had of myself when I was like peak eating disorder, like not healthy. Like that's the skinniest I've ever been in my life. And I used to like go back and look at that and be like, oh, like I know I'm healthy now, but why can't I be healthy and have that body? I mean, obviously the answer is like, because that's not a healthy body, but like going and like looking back at like those versions of myself and like seeing how much my body has changed over time, I definitely compare myself to myself.
I used to wear fake eyelashes, then I had extensions, then I do mascara. So even just comparing how that looks on me. And that's just one of many, many things. And I think like, was I getting more attention when I had that? Like it's just gross. Like it makes you just feel like so ugly at the end of the day when in reality, like you're so not. It's crazy.
Oh, I do that 100. Are you kidding? I do that. Oh my
I do that
gosh.
all the time.
Like there's this one specific picture I have on my Instagram and nothing's gonna beat it. It's my profile image. It's just the one. I always compare pictures to it. It's in your backyard, Michelle.
Oh, is it?
It
I think
is.
that's actually a really good example is your profile picture, especially
Mm-hmm.
because I remember I had a profile picture, the same one for probably like 2 years. And I was like, okay,
That's me with this picture.
I feel like it's time to change it. That was 2 years ago. Maybe I look a little bit different. But then when I was looking through my camera roll to go and change it, knowing that your profile picture is the first thing people see,
Mm-hmm.
I just like, I had so much trouble picking a new one because I was like, nothing beats this one. And I was
Yeah.
comparing myself to myself.
No, for sure.
And yeah, there's just so much room. I mean, on camera roll, on Instagram, because everything's captured in these moments. I don't know. There's just so many things that you can compare to.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we never talk about is how often we focus on ourselves and all the different versions of us and then judge ourselves based on what we perceive as being the best.
Yeah. And there's also such a desire for control when it comes to our image. I mean, it's funny because people see us in real life every day. And you really can't control how you look when someone sees you. Like maybe you've planned to hang out or whatever, and you can put on a little bit of makeup or choose your outfit. But on a day-to-day, you run into people all the time, even if it's strangers, and you can't control how you look necessarily. But on Instagram, you have almost too much control.
Usually I just like when other people take a selfie and I'm in it because then I don't have that like control over how I look in it because I overthink it. Also, when it flips it and then I'm like, I thought it looked fine until it flipped the other way. I'm like, oh, I look weird. My face is sticking out weirdly.
I don't know if it necessarily feels like this is what people would see on a day-to-day basis if they're interacting with me regularly. Because in the photos, I'm usually wearing makeup. I've done something with my hair, and I don't generally do that. So it feels like me, but it feels like this is the me that I could be if I put in that effort. Me, but better, if that makes sense.
Like it's an enhanced version of my life for sure. Like I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is not my day to day. But it's what I want like people to see and how I want to, I guess, portray myself online.
I haven't been super active in terms of posting, but what I will do is like sort of end of semester photo dumps. And of course, within those like 10 photos over the course of 4 months, it's going to look like this is what's happening. But then on the reality, I'm like a 4th-year student. Honestly, school hasn't been super fun because it's a lot of work. And I think when I look back at photo dumps and I see like just the highlights, it's almost kind of nice to convince myself that that's the only thing that was going on. I like that I can go back and just see the good things. I know that's not like the best way to live. And trust me, my life still has ups and downs, but being able to just accentuate and fixate on the good things, sometimes that feels good.
Yeah, even if it's not like a picture of me specifically, then it's just about making a really good photo dump in general.
Yeah, organizing the pictures just right,
Yeah.
having photos of me, photos of my friends, photos of the scenery. You got to have the right ratio.
Even when we went to the cottage weekend for your birthday, I was asking the girls and like looking through our shared album of like pictures of the scenery. Obviously, we're taking so many pictures of ourselves because we're just having so much fun and we're narcissists. But I was trying to get pictures of the scenery because I wanted to post a big dump of that, but all the pictures were just us and I had to make it perfect. Add a little bit of food, add a little bit of the lake, add a little bit of the trees. Why do I have to do this crazy freaking BEDMAS equation for a photo dump that somebody's going to easily just scroll through, like the picture, and then move on to the next one?
I know. And the worst part is most people don't even freaking scroll through it.
And then if you put too many pictures, people really won't look at it. And then it's just a whole thing.
Right? And I just feel like you have to have the scenery photos because if you don't, then it's really like, okay, girl, we get it. You had a fun weekend. You look good. Why are we posting so much?
Yeah.
I spend so long just looking at each post, wondering what people will see when they look at it. And then I debate and I keep it in my drafts. Then I look back at it again. And then I think, oh, I'm like a week late from the thing that I'm posting the picture of. But at this point, is it too late? Are people going to be weirded out that it's late? Like I overthink it completely, always around what other people think about it.
I think it takes months to officially decide on what I'm going to post. There's like so much anxiety around posting. I'm looking right now and seeing photos posted months after the travel because there's just so much thinking that goes into play and so much overthinking.
We've talked a lot, I guess, about individual photos, and we're kind of getting into group photos right now. So I'll just say that a lot of people that I spoke to hate the idea of a group photo.
Oh, yeah. I fucking hate a group photo.
I hate a group photo.
I hate a group photo. I hate it in the moment and I always hate it after. Like, even sometimes taking a picture with a friend, I'm like, I don't like doing this. Like, I feel awkward.
Yeah, I love a candid photo, but I think the problem with group photos is that you know already that it's most likely not on your phone, which means you can't go through it and look if your freaking eye is shut in one of them, if you're looking weird and you know, I keep saying weird. I'm like, what's the definition of weird? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just not normal to you.
It's just not
It's
normal
not how
to
you
me.
perceive yourself.
But yeah, like group photos, there's just that lack of control. And there's also like a pressure. Like, are we all doing the same pose? Are we smiling with teeth? Are we looking fierce? Are we
fierce, she
You know what I
said.
mean though? Like there's just so much that goes into it.
I really always get scared about how my body looks.
Yeah.
Like in a group picture because it's never flattering how we're standing. And then there's always one person that just doesn't like the photo, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
I would say like 6 times out of 10, I don't always love the group photo, yet it probably is going to get posted by someone on their Instagram anyways. I'm usually always the shortest one out of a group of people, so I can always look a little like weird in group photos. I just don't like fit in with the group necessarily, so it looks a little like ostracizing. So I'm like conscious of that when I'm taking group photos. Should I be on the end? Should I be in the middle? Do I sit? It's like I never know what to do with my body in a group photo. I never know how to pose, like hand on my hip. Do I fake laugh? All that kind of stuff. It low-key stresses me out.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely have had the thought of like, oh, I hope I don't look like the biggest person in this photo.
It's more a case of, am I positioning my body right? Do I look awkward in this? It's not necessarily going to stop me from posting that group photo, but it's something that I think about. How am I holding my body? How am I holding my face? And am I in line with the rest of the group? Or am I off in my own little world looking like a crazy person?
I always catch myself only looking at me in group photos. And then I'm like, okay, I like this one the best. I'm going to post this one. And then I go and look at the other people. And then I realize that I haven't looked at the other people because I'm like, oh my God, Elle's eyes are going the opposite
Cross-eyed.
directions. Like all of our friends are looking down, up, sideways. Nobody's paying attention but me. I look great. But then I'm like, shoot, I can't post that one.
Some people don't freaking look and then you get tagged on Instagram and it's a big surprise.
Yeah.
That's something that actually elicits fear in me. Like, I feel my heart drop.
This sounds so extra and dramatic, but like a pit in your stomach.
Oh God.
It depends on who.
thinking of breakups a lot, apparently. But, like, for example, my friends who are still friends with my ex, when they post about me, I know he's seeing that. And that's a thought that's for sure in my head, right? Especially when you get the, like, oh, so and so tagged you in a post, and it's not your friend who was like, oh, which photo do you like better?
If it was a boyfriend, 100% I'm getting anxious because it's like, I know you think this photo is great, but I know for a fact it's not. Like, they always post like the most ugliest photos thinking they're helping you out. That's the problem.
On one hand, it's like, yay, you love me. You want people to know you love me. And that makes me feel secure in our whatever type of relationship we have. But then on the other hand, it's like, okay, but now how are these people going to view me?
I think there's a lot of like fear and anxiety when I see a notification that someone's tagged me.
I didn't have any say in what you're posting of me. Like, I don't have very much control over that.
I mean, it's exciting because like someone's including you, but it's just so triggering and it's nerve-wracking for sure.
When other people post me, I'm just happy to be included.
For me, I'm never worried in those situations like, what do I look like?
I would say my friends would never post something like intentionally knowing I don't look good in it. Like, I don't have those types of people in my life, which is great. But, I'm always a little apprehensive to click on the photo. And then I see it and I'm like happy. Or sometimes if I really like it, I'll like post it on my story or something like that.
When I post something, I'm like, oh, is it weird that I posted this? Did I get the framing right? Should I have color corrected it a bit? Oh, it looks weird with the rest of my feet. Meanwhile, when other people post something of me, it's like, ooh, that's me.
It's nice that you're thought of enough to be included in something that feels a little bit more permanent in their profile, their account. Again, it feels nice to be known and to be recognized.
Personally, when somebody tags me in a post and they haven't done like the pre-check when they send you the photos and ask if you're good with this or if this looks good or whatnot, I get anxiety about it. And then I feel like I'm already in a heightened state when I go to look at it that I'm just like ready to frickin' go in on myself in a negative way.
I remember our friend posted a photo dump after the cottage and I saw my tag. I'm just scrolling
same.
aimlessly until I see what the hell she posted of me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like insane. Like, I'm a narcissist. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm so self-centered. Because I also don't like telling people, like, oh, delete that picture of me. But then if it's like a god awful picture, I can't have like 3,000 people seeing it.
Yeah,
It's too
100%. I
much.
think it's such a balance of, oh my gosh, what am I going to look like? Let me go and analyze to, wait, but that's really nice that they wanted to include me in that post.
That's so true.
Okay, so then what about the affirmation and validation we get from posting the idealized version of ourselves? For example, I think when we post something, maybe even just on our stories, like sometimes I'm feeling really confident, I'm feeling really good. So I'll take a few like selfies or whatnot and I'll post them on my story. But it's not for pleasure though. In the moment, I'm like, okay, great. I feel so good. I'm going to take a few selfies. But then as soon as I hit that post button, it's about who's liked my story? How many people have liked my story? How many people have viewed my story? And it's all about other people once you click post.
That's so true.
Right? It's all about, are they validating my thoughts about myself?
When you say it like that, it's so fucked up because it's like, what do you mean that we need other people's like approval and praise to feel good about how we look, though you already knew that you looked good in that moment?
Photos of myself on my story, they get like, I don't know, whatever my average amount of likes are on my story. I don't actually count them. I just look. I feel like they don't really get that much. And then I'm also thinking in my head, I wonder how many likes my friend gets on her story post when she posts something like this. I wonder why this person didn't like it. I wonder if they stopped and looked at it for a minute, decided not to like it because that's low-key like a sign of something when it comes to guys. And if you think it's not, please let me know because I need to know what the hell a story like means from a guy.
I don't think it means anything because if this man is going to click a button and be like, oh, to show that he's interested in you, you don't want him anyways.
No.
Like, that's like, are you kidding? That's your way of communication?
It's so awful. It's literally like they're just mindlessly scrolling and they're like, oh, that looks good. Like, never think about it again. And I'm like, if a guy that I like, but we don't talk, Snapchat, text, DM, anywhere else, and you're liking my story, that pisses me off.
Yeah, but then the first time I would get butterflies. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. I get butterflies. I get butterflies every time, but then it just is annoying. Like, where are you in my DMs? Where are you in the messages?
Yeah, ask me for my phone number. Ask me on a date. Like, figure your stuff out.
I really crave attention, which is probably a problem. but it makes me really happy when I feel like people are noticing me.
It's overwhelming at first when the notifications start coming in, but then it feels like you get another little hit of serotonin or dopamine or whatever neurochemical it is that feels really nice because they're stopping for a second, looking at you and going, I like that. I approve of that in some way. They're affirming that they don't think that you're a piece of garbage. And if you have low self-esteem, getting those likes, getting those comments that suggest that you are not a piece of garbage is very valuable.
It makes me feel good. Like, it makes me feel like, okay, like I did these photos correctly.
I don't know if I sound psychotic saying this, but like the first hour or few hours after posting something, I'm doing the math in my head of how many likes per minute I am getting.
Like, I might feel validated in myself just looking at the photo before posting, but then let's say I post it and then I don't get the same feelings that I do when I was looking at it on my own. I mean, we're obviously our biggest critics, but when the outside critics are not giving you your desired reaction, you're even harder on yourself.
I think that when we were like kids, everybody would post and then so many people would just like your picture. They would comment on your picture. It would be so casual. It was just like to give you praise. It was like just a nice compliment, whether it was a guy or a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so nice.
Yeah, and I think that's why now I've become so desensitized to comments. I know that my friends are going to comment and they're probably going to be the only ones to comment, and it feels good. I mean, I notice when they
Mhm.
don't comment for sure. I'm going to like the comment. Maybe I'll hit a reply. It doesn't actually feed into my confidence at all.
But I think that there's also too a narrative on what to comment and like whose post you comment on. Unless it's like maybe somebody gets engaged or something, you're not commenting on just any picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's like somebody that you're not super close with, and I don't like that. Like, I feel like we should just bring back like being supportive of everybody on social media, making Instagram casual again. It's too structured. It's
Yeah.
driving me insane. My God.
I loved social media when I was in high school. That was my shit. I loved posting stuff. I loved having an audience and having people see me. And I tried to figure out like what happened between like being a high schooler and now. And obviously age and like lots of life experience between then and now. But I think you're right that like Instagram's landscape has changed and how people interact has changed. And that could totally be why I feel like I'm like chasing something.
Ever since Instagram stopped having the feed in like order of time, I've stopped scrolling through it. I can't keep up, and then it like gives me things from like last week. I accidentally like it and I'm like, oh, that's a little weird of me. I mostly like look at people's stories, and if somebody tags me or if I open it up and it like is recommending something. So I feel like I shouldn't really be bothered that other people aren't liking mine, and yet somehow I am.
Our level of disconnection from an image, whether it includes friends or not, has a lot to do with our current mood. And that goes back into why I started to think about all of this stuff. I was looking at all of these images from university, and because the photos that I post are just my best moments and things like that, I felt genuinely happy in those moments. Like, it's St. Patrick's Day, it's homecoming, it's my roommate's birthday. And I was so happy in those moments. And cut to, I don't know, 6 months later, I'm sitting alone with new people at school, new location. It's starting to get into cold season in Toronto. The weather is bad. And I just felt so sad, like all the time. So I was looking at these photos just being like, who is this person? I think for some people, they look back on moments like that and are like, this is how it can be. But for me, I was just like, there was no connection. It was just such an odd feeling to look at experiences that I've had and felt like I never lived them.
It's always when I look back. Honestly, it was when I was blonde. It's not even just because of the hair color. It's because of who I was in that time period of my life. And I sometimes look back and like, it's very easy to get seasonal depression in Canada, in my opinion.
I agree.
Literally, I walk out of the office building, it's dark out. Anyways, I would look back at like images, or like Snapchat would bring me these memories of like 3 years ago, 4 years ago today. And it would make me so sad because it's like I was a ball of energy back then, first of all. And I was just always dancing, laughing. Like, I had the funniest, craziest, randomest videos with my friends. Like, the pictures kind of scare me a little bit because I'm like, whew, you were not looking cute back then. But everything was just such a good time. And I look back now And I'm like, who was that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who am I? And like, what have I turned into?
Yeah.
Even though I'm on the right path, I'm doing great things. It's just like I look back specifically to those partying moments and like a lot with like my energy. I'm just like, who the fuck was that?
No, I 100% agree. It does make me sad, and it ties into comparing ourselves to past
Mhm.
selves. Like, it's just a never ending cycle.
I do think it really just depends on my mood in terms of how disconnected I feel to myself on social media. My instinct is to just like look at my profile and look at myself. I could do that in a good mood, bad mood, neutral mood, whatever mood it is, but the mood that I'm in is going to determine how I feel about those posts. If I'm looking at the bikini photo and I've had a dog shit day, I'm just going to like dog on myself more. But then if I've had a really great day, I can look at that photo and be like, damn, that's a great photo. I look good. I'm so happy the world saw that. But I think there's always going to be a part of me that feels like my representation of myself on social media is almost like an alter ego or like a curated brand or persona.
Yes, I do feel disconnected on almost like every photo, even like my most recent photos. I look at it and I know it's my photo, but it just doesn't register that like that was a time in my life. And like I would say like there's rarely photos of me on my Instagram where I'm like genuinely like authentically happy. There's a few sprinkled in there. And also some of the photos where I am like genuinely authentically happy are on my camera roll, but not on my Instagram because how I look in it. And yeah, I think that definitely feeds into the disconnect.
I know it's me, but it doesn't feel like how I feel now. So it doesn't feel as much like me as it could. It's like an out of body kind of thing for a second where you're free floating and you're looking at this person below you and you go, wow, we were really having a rough time there. But you almost want to reach in and give your past self a hug or just tell your past self that it's okay, it's going to be okay.
The way that I felt while taking the photo also shifts the way I look at and perceive the image of myself.
Also, intention, too. Like you were saying, you know, in a moment when you're taking a photo, what your mood is, too. So
Mhm.
it's not only I'm looking back at a photo from 6 months ago where I was really happy, but right now I'm sad sitting alone in my apartment. I'm not connecting. That's one way. But the
Yeah.
other way is that, okay, 6 months ago, I was at this party. I had so much anxiety. I was so nervous about the way that I looked. I was bloated. I was this, I was that. But I took a photo. It looked okay. So I ended up posting it. Then I look back on it and you can feel how you felt in that moment through the screen. And then that's
Mhm.
another reason that you don't connect because it's not genuine at all.
Yeah.
Your mood entirely shifts how you perceive an image.
I definitely relate to like looking at a photo and it bringing back memories that are both positive and negative. I can look back at my Instagram and, see photos and know exactly what period of my life I was in, not just because I know the date of it, but just because like I also know, mental health things that were going on at the time or like family things or relationship things.
Okay, so this is a photo of me on my birthday, right after my breakup. And I knew he was still following me. And I like wanted to show him that I was having the best time without him on my birthday. And I definitely faked a smile in that photo. The night was over. I was exhausted, but I didn't have any content. And I was like, fuck, I want him to know I had a really good birthday without him. Guys, like, we're going in the backyard right now. You have to take photos of me.
Sometimes looking through photos of me and like looking back at memories and stuff helps me make sense of my identity.
I genuinely believe that when our current state of mind is different to how it was when we originally took the photo, it causes disconnection. And that when we remove our actual selves from our social media identity or we put more emphasis on the ideal version of ourselves and focus on our own perception and the perception of others, we create and open that door for disconnect.
Yeah, and I think this just brings us back to mental health and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So much of what we talked about today really does relate back to anxiety. And I think that the only way to get out of the disconnect, or at least try to, is to attempt to merge our actual selves with our social media identity. And to try and quiet the worry of perception, to just show us who you are and like have people either accept that or unfollow, like leave.
Exactly.
Bye. If you don't want to see my actual version of myself, why are you following me?
When I'm feeling low, it's helpful to be able to go back in and look at those photos as a reminder that things can be good, but it can also feel kind of unfair. Like I get into my own head where then I start to wonder, was the photo where I look so happy and I think I look so great in this one, is that real or was that something that I put on? Are other people perceiving me like that or are they disappointed when I don't look like that or when I don't appear to be as put together as I am in that photo? That really does weigh on me when my mental health is poor.
There's definitely a lack of authenticity. I mean, it's not like what I'm posting is fake, but I think a lot of people strive to like post like the perfect post. In a way, it allows me to make more sense of myself or makes me feel more confident, but there's definitely that gap.
I'm aware social media is fake and I want people to feel like the best versions of themselves and don't want them to feel judged on social media. And then I'm sitting here like just judging and scrutinizing myself.
It's so sad to see because you obviously believe your friends are gorgeous and amazing human beings. And so when they start critiquing themselves, like my friend, every time before she posts on Instagram, she sends me the photos that she wants to post. And she's like, do I look too orange in this? Does my ass look weird in this? And I'm like, no, it doesn't at all. I'm looking at it for way too long. Just post it. And it's sad to see, but I do the same thing. Like it sucks, honestly.
And so I think that based on everything we touched on today, that is the only way to try to break that disconnect is to bring our actual selves to our social media. So we're going to attempt to do that next week.
Yep, we are. So what we're going to do is we're going to conduct a posting challenge with 3 of our best friends.
Yeah. So for one day, each of us will post at least 8 photos or videos to our Instagram story with no context. And each post is meant to reflect your day-to-day life. So no curation allowed, no editing, just intrusive thoughts and daily activities.
Yeah, like the type of things that you would send into a group chat with your closest friends. Not everything, but not everything. Everybody relax. But something.
Maybe it sounds easy enough to some people. Maybe it sounds like a nightmare to some people. But I feel it really is the ultimate test to bring your actual self to your social media and try your best to set your worry and anxiety aside about how you're being perceived and just go for it.
I rarely post on a daily basis, so this was quite different.
I wanted the post to be like, if we were looking at the same thing, what I would say in that moment to one of you. And then I feel like after that first post, it just got easier and easier.
I just sometimes think my true self is too vulgar for the internet.
And I was like, people are going to think I'm dirty. Like, they're going to be like, what the hell is going on? It was hard.
Okay, so I had the self-confidence in person looking at myself in the mirror. And then when it came to putting it on the camera, I was like, wait, it doesn't look how it looks to me in person. Like,
And she goes, Queen, this is on your main. I don't know if it's meant for your close friends or not, but just wanted to give you a heads up, LOL. And I was dying. I'm like, oh my God, so people do think I'm crazy today. Like, they think I'm on one.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll
I'm
see how it
excited.
goes. I'm excited too.
Yeah, well, okay, guys. Join us next time. From now on until next week, I'd encourage you to join us in this posting challenge as well.
Yes, I really think that everybody should do it. And then send us your thoughts on it on our Instagram and tag us in your story posts at Beyond Comfort Podcast. And we'll feature them on our account. We'll respond to you. We'll have a little conversation. We'll just enjoy.
We'll make Instagram casual again.
We sure will.
That's so fun. Okay, yay.
Okay, yay.
Okay, well, bye, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll
see you next time.
We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, bye.